Welcome to the Beat the Banks podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Fuller, and I'm in the studio again with the one and only David Zapata. I feel like we've been recording a lot of stuff lately.
Love it.
It's so much fun. And today we're going to talk about the key components of wealth building. So as much as we love the strategy of becoming your own banker and controlling that flow of money, which is so important because it affects every other area of life, your business, your investments, your personal life, there is a strategic way that we've learned from many, many mentors, many courses, lots of seminars, lots of curation to form what we call our key components of wealth building. And what makes this so unique, David, is that a lot of times when you go to those wealth seminars, and they're all great, there's always something you can learn. Most of them are catered around some type of investment. Let us show you how to get your money working, real estate, crypto, whatever it is, business scaling, and that's all awesome. What makes our wealth conversation so unique, especially in the whole life and IBC realm, is that we teach a wealth building component too, but it's so foundational. It's so focused on the foundation of wealth, which I love about us, because the reality is, if you don't have the proper foundation, whether you're making $50,000 a year or $50 million a year, you don't get to the top of the money game without a solid foundation. If you've got a crack or a leak in your foundation, you are susceptible to loss. And that's what we primarily focus on when we teach our wealth building conversations.
I love this framework because, it aligns also with our values. I don't know if you've thought about that, but our long-term thinking, right? Our ability to think about the effect on a financial conversation affecting the rest of our life, all areas of life. This is a very thoughtful, intentional framework we put forward for our clients and our community. And I've told you, we are curating things that we're learning from people because we want to stand on the shoulders of giants. And it's not something we put forward in terms of trying to be the most innovative or this is new. We are bringing forward what we're learning in rooms where there's a lot of people with a lot of success trying to take steps back to go and patch over the foundation that they don't have. And the problem at $50 million gets more heavy, more difficult to solve than if you start thoughtfully to walk through a framework that puts the right aspects, the right protection, so you can continue to build and accelerate.
Yeah, and it's something that we picked up on in the last few years, really being in some very high profile rooms. And, some of these rooms I've been sitting in, everyone in there is making $1 million a year. And I'm hearing some of the questions they're asking. And I'm like, how do you didn't do that on your way up? And it's because very few people focus and have the expertise like we teach on the banking level, but also the protection, what we call the foundation of wealth building, which is where we specialize. We still teach investing. We teach it in a way that's strategic to help our clients think for themselves, which is one of our big core values, right? Infinite thinking. I don't want to be the financial advisor for my clients. I want them to think and do what they want to do. No one can be a better investor than them. Now, the bottom half of this pyramid, you don't get to the top. That is non-negotiable if you don't have those elements. And let's start with those elements right now. Financial education is the first thing we put on that list, which is why we teach. We teach to empower and educate so you understand. Everything starts with education. Yes. I don't know how to do that. It all starts with education, which is why we built our courses. Next is the financial awareness. You got to understand where you're at and where you want to go. Something that we learned from one of our coaches, Steve Chater, is that you don't drift to a desired location. If you want to go to the top of that wealth building pyramid and attain the freedom in the 5 areas of life, you don't do it accidentally. You have to be very intentional. And you've developed what we call our cash flow dashboard, which is an amazing tool that when it pulls up and you see your entire financial situation sit in front of you, the awareness becomes so high. You understand how protected you are, where you're going, how close you are to your goals. Just an unbelievable tool. And then at the third base of that pyramid is our saving strategy. So we teach financial education, awareness, right into a saving strategy, which is where we implement the infinite banking concept. It is not an investment. It does not belong at the top of the pyramid in our investing and wealth acceleration piece. These are foundational to wealth building. You've got to have those at your base. If you don't, you're going to end up being in a room with all those high producers trying to figure out why you can't save enough money, why you're bleeding money, why you're one lawsuit away from losing everything you built.
And this is going to be really important for you to hear what we're talking about and decide, are we your community? Are we your people, right? I get fascinated when I go to places and the conversation is on the sexiest investment, the most complex idea, derivatives, And I will like to pose to you this: the sexiest thing you can have in front of you in terms of developing financial ideas for your life is somebody that is encouraging you to become the person capable of leading and being the director of your own movie.
That's good.
And there's nothing more important that in that journey of transformation, you understand the ideas and you become confident from a place of understanding what it is that you want to do, that you make it a full contact sport on a monthly basis. If you're not looking at your financial statement, your income statement, your balance sheet, if you don't know how many assets and liabilities you have on a monthly basis at a minimum, you are not engaged with that relationship with money. And if you pretend that you can succeed by just sending money away and outsourcing that role, which many people do, and maybe they succeed, great. But I can tell you that you will not likely be maximizing your potential in that relationship because it requires you. You are the key to everything. And then on top of that, if you're not well capitalized, like Nelson teaches us, if we don't have savings, where do we go and grow from? Like, we need a solid foundation of capital that gives us the confidence and liquidity for protection and for taking advantage of opportunity.
And there's no better savings environment, in our opinion, than a whole life insurance policy, right? Which
Absolutely.
is why we put it at the foundation. And once people understand where that asset belongs and what it is, everything changes for their life. It does not belong at the top of the pyramid in your investing strategy. It has nothing in common with a 401k or real estate or crypto or whatever derivative, right? It belongs at the base because of the guarantees, the liquidity, those 8 benefits we always chat about. Now, once you've got educated, you got some awareness, your saving strategy is in place, I would recommend somebody starting the infinite banking concept. Only then, right? Don't start it before then. If you can't save money, you have no business doing this. Nelson says that right in his book. And, once from there, the next level we have on here is, okay, let's get your insurance in place. Life insurance, health, disability, long-term care. There's elements there that you're going to want to start looking at. Same thing with a debt strategy. Are you using debt to produce income, or do you have debt we need to eliminate that's consuming your income, right? That needs to be a part of this. Also getting your P&C insurance. So personal liability, auto, home, umbrella. It's crazy to me the amount of business owners that we work with that are making lots of money. And then we say, when's the last time you had your insurance reviewed? They're going through our wealth scorecard. So we have a whole wealth scorecard that, 100 points on things you need to have if you really want to win the money game, but also have a sound system. And I can't believe how many business owners and investors don't have sufficient insurance. To me, that's a huge crack in their system. It's like you're working so hard to win, but you're one lawsuit away from someone bankrupting you. Mm-hmm. That's as dangerous as not having liquidity in your savings strategy.
Yes.
What good is 10 years of phenomenal returns, David, if a recession or a lawsuit literally takes you under? You cannot have any cracks in this foundational system we're talking about right now. Non-negotiable.
Yeah. The way I think about this is that first layer is within your control. You decide to become, and you're going to put the work on educating, having awareness, and then putting your capital in order, right? The second layer is, okay, there's also other things that I cannot control. And I need to start transferring that risk away to third parties that can help me become more reliable and have more protection. All of us are exposed to having a disability accident. All of us are exposed to having our house burned down. All of us have the exposure to having debt ruin our financial life. But if you can then transfer that risk away thoughtfully through insurance, to a debt strategy, to property and casualty, you put yourself in a position to be now at the next stage on how do I keep building infrastructure to build wealth.
Absolutely. And so once again, you have to have these key components in your foundation. This is where we specialize. We've got an entire team of professionals that will help you with all of these elements here. And the next thing you're going to want to start looking at is some type of living trust, a will, a trust, asset protection. You're going to need these things in place as we start to move into that investing conversation. And so that's what we call the base of this, the foundation of these wealth building components. Mm-hmm. And once again, I'm going to say it, this is non-negotiable. Whether you have a $50 million net worth or 500,000, you don't get to the top without having those elements in place.
It's a question of scale, not if it's there or not.
Exactly. And depending on how high you want to go, depends on how strong that foundation needs to be, right?
How wide do you make the base of a pyramid if you're going to put a ton of weight at the top?
Exactly. That's exactly it. Now, once we've got that solidified, let's start moving into the investing conversation. So we've got cash flow management on here too. And we've got strong partners with the profit first model. A lot of business owners we're working with, great at bringing money in, not so great at keeping the dollars that are coming in. So there should be some type of strategy in your wealth building components that involves some type of management of your cash flow. We've really gravitated and liked the profit first model. It's percentage based, it's scalable, but it actually works. And so that helps keep more of that control in your cash as well in your life. And then we can start moving into an investing strategy. Now, this is where it's infinite. It's the exact opposite of the foundational conversation we just had. The bottom base of this pyramid is non-negotiable. The investing strategy at the top is infinite. You should not follow my strategy, David, and I should not follow yours. They need to look very different because we're very different people.
Yes.
So why are we buying into this nonsense that's promoted out there where, buy this, whatever investment and your life changes? It's not the investment, it's the investor. And you have to understand what your strategy is based off where you want to go with abundance in the 5 areas. What framework exists for that?
I agree 100%. I love this because then it becomes an art. There's science and an art, and the art is infinite, right? There's no one better in this world being a Kyle than Kyle. And there's no one better.
I'm pretty good at it.
There's no one better being David than me, right? And that means that if I intentionally want to invest and I also want to enjoy it and I want it to be a fruitful, infinite part of my life, instead of doing every other Friday with my paycheck, what most people do, which is buy something they don't know and understand, what if I align my values? What if I align my expertise? What if I align what I care about in my investment philosophy? And then I start taking advantage of that. When people talk about, hey, when you invest, you should make sure you have edge. What is edge?
Right.
The edge is you.
Right.
Who's
you are
better?
the edge.
Exactly. If you have a particular expertise on a particular technology, who's going to be better at pricing opportunities than you? Only you. So let's make sure that you're intentionally investing by having a strategy.
Having a system or a model to follow that you can build and cater to what your life looks like. Because at the top of this pyramid, we have what's called freedom in the 5 areas of life. So what David and I believe here is that life includes 5 areas: spiritual, personal, family, financial, and occupation. And if you want to wake up every day like we are and enjoy every second of every day, you have to design and acquire abundance in all of those areas. And this is why we're so passionate about education and wealth building. It's not to just have more money. It's to fund the perfect lifestyle. And so that looks different for everyone. And so once you have that identified, which is an exercise we go over in our live wealth seminars with our community, once you have that identified, you can start building the strategy that's going to help you achieve that. Because some people have very long-term goals. They can buy noisier assets versus quiet. Some people are so passionate about their businesses like you and I that our active income is at a 10 at all times. So it's very noisy, it's loud. And we love it, which means we can't afford to do certain investments that other people are spending part-time working on. And this is a whole philosophy and a strategy that we have built into our conversations that really helps people get intentional about, one, where do you even want to go? And what is the plan that's going to allow you to do it with the least amount of risk and the most amount of success? The framework that we have here that people have seen, if I had it 5 years ago, I'd have a lot more money still in my control. Because the reality was I was spending time doing things and I was speculating when I thought I was investing. Had I had the framework that we have now, oh my gosh, I'll tell you, I'll never lose money again in investments. I can tell you that, having our framework that we have now, because I understand what it needs to be. And once you understand this philosophy, it's really hard to lose when you have a system and a model you're following that only allows you to win.
Yeah. What you're saying brings the word standards to my mind. And I think one of the difficult things that I find in the wealth building journey is that there's no right or wrong. It's a field full of uncertainty. Therefore, you need to decide what's right and what's wrong for you. What is the standard you want to develop? One of the things that comes to mind, going back to the bottom of the pyramid all the way up, is I would not think, when I'm thinking about my 5 areas of life, to send my kids away to school in Europe and expect that I'm going to have a relationship with them that is the relationship I want in 18 years. I don't outsource that relationship. I don't outsource the relationship with God or my wife. I would invite you to consider that you should be very engaged with money, because money will fund the abundance that you want for every other aspect of your life, and it requires that standard. I need to be engaged. So that's one thing. The other part of this is, which has been the most important for me, is when you put yourself in a room where there's people that are either very good at protecting their money or making it, what you find out is that sometimes the most valuable aspect of this conversation is finding out what you don't know that you don't know. And to support our community to do that, this pyramid is not just a pretty picture we put together, but also comes with a whole scorecard, with a whole set of questions, over 100 questions we have on that tool, to ask you thoughtful questions about how are you developing each one of these elements in your life, and how do they apply to you individually? Do you understand them, and have you actually taken action and implemented them? We are trying to drive awareness. We're trying to drive consciousness in our community that if I don't know anything about estate planning, should I? And the answer is yes. How well do I understand the elements of it, and have I implemented them if they are the thing that I want to do to continue to build wealth? That has been so powerful for me, Kyle. The more we put ourselves in rooms where there's people that are exceeding in the money game, the thing that I find common in my gratitude is, man, I am so glad that guy said that, because I've never even heard of that. I've never even considered it. So now that I know it's out there, the journey continues.
Absolutely. And, you said something super profound. What I tell a lot of the clients I'm working with is like, give me 3 to 5 years with you to get your education awareness at a certain point. Once it's there, you're off. You can just run. You do it on your own. You're so dialed in. You can be who you need to be without having the bottleneck of, nothing against financial advisors, but all right, David, what do I do next? If you have the education awareness, you'll know exactly what to do, because you play the money game different than anyone else. Your investing strategy should be different. And the reason why we teach live seminars is because the community aspect is the most important thing. One idea that we believe in with our 5 areas conversation is that the relationships in those 5 areas are the most important. So when you talk about financial, business, it's why you need to come to our wealth seminars to interact and rub shoulders with our community. When you're sitting in a table with a guy that's doing 10 times the income you are, and you say, what are you doing? And they give you some advice. You go, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. But more importantly, what you start building is relationship capital too. When you have connections and people there that you know and understand who have strengths that complement, your weaknesses, or vice versa, that's where it gets really fun.
And I know you would agree with me on this, but one of the things that I get the most excited about thinking about success is, what if we're building a world where every single one of our clients and our community members eventually builds a bigger banking system than ours? They're definitely smarter than us. They're going to have more expertise. They're going to be better at investing. They're going to build a better world around us. And we're now going to get to build things together and learn from them. I thrive on the thought that every person I'm helping become aware of this framework is going to blow by me one day, and they're going to build better things for my kids to live around. I love that thought. Think about anyone else in your financial life that's thinking that way. Do you think the banks are buying more corner buildings thinking that you one day are going to get better than them? Do you think that any other financial advisor is really invested in thinking that? I think that's how we build better societies, by raising each other, raising the tide for everyone.
That's the abundant mindset that we believe in and implement. There is no scarcity here. Yeah, I love that. And so make sure you check out our resources right on our website, factumfinancial.com. You can see the upcoming live events that we have going on. Make sure to register one of those and come out and just rub shoulders with us, join our community, build some relationship capital, and get around people that are winning, and winning really big.
Yes. Mr. Buffett, I keep quoting him. I have become obsessed with him. Best comedian that I've ever come across, says, the best way to mitigate risk is to think. Think about the things you control, go develop. Think about the risk in your life that you cannot control, go transfer it, and then go and get intentional about how you align what you know, who you want to be in your values, and what you are an expert on, to go and accelerate your wealth.
I love it. There's the framework. Follow a system and model. Once your system and model is built, the foundation, be as creative as you possibly can be in this money game.
Absolutely.